Even though breaking things might help you let off some steam, professionals say it is not a long-term solution. Some of the protesters carried posters like these and say they want the government to stop using their money to fund what they say is a genocide in Palestine. Some of the leaves here at Dry Canyon have almost reached their peak colors, and hikers say they're loving the change in nature. I also decided to buy some halal meat from Salt Lake City to take back to Logan with me. But unlike myself, most Logan residents say they prefer buying it in bulk so they can always have some halal meat stoked at home. This is a student who gets 7 or more hours of sleep, and that is a student who doesn't. This study shows that this student is likely to perform better than the other student and even score higher GPA points. Chanting Free Palestine, hundreds of people gathered at the Utah State Capitol in Salt Lake City with flags and posters to show their support for Palestinians.
I want a freedom and Palestine.
Although the conflict is gaining the people and media's attention now, a political science assistant professor says it can be traced back 75 years to Israel's War of Independence.
The most concrete starting point for most of this is 1948. There was the founding of the State of Israel, and in the following days, the expulsion of 750,000 Palestinians from their homes. It's over political representation. Do people displaced by the conflict have the right to return to their historic communities, their homes? And it's over the expansion of the settler communities in the occupied West Bank.
The United States stands with Israel.
President Biden addressed the conflict and said Americans stand with Israelis. This has caused protests and retaliation from different groups of Americans, including people in Utah.
Not only protests on college campuses or in communities, it's created internal dissent and disagreement within the State Department. Some of the protesters carried posters like these and say they want the government to stop using their money to fund what they say is a genocide in Palestine.
U.S. government sends billions of dollars to fund the war and apartheid regime and genocide in Gaza, but they will not give us health care. So we're here to say that we want all U.S. aid to Israel to be cut.
One coward strike killed them all.
A Palestinian man shares how his relatives died a few days ago during an attack in Palestine. As of now, thousands of people have lost their lives during this war, and Nabi reminds people it is not a religious conflict.
A big mistake that most people go to, including the media, when they talk about this, is that this is primarily a conflict between Jews and Muslims. They forget that there are Palestinian Christians, including those that were killed in Gaza, and there are more Christians still in cities like Bethlehem in the West Bank. And so it's not a Jewish versus Muslim story by any means.
Zahar Nasir, ATV News.
Yeah, I'll go hard.
That is the sound of a tongue fighting a spicy aftertaste, and these are some of the faces reacting to the heat at a spicy sauce festival in Salt Lake City.
It's only 3 ingredients.
Mixing 3 ingredients might not sound like much work, but this spicy sauce maker says otherwise.
We spend day and night making sauces in hopes of spreading our creations out to the greater audience.
It's not hot. Not hot at all?
Although some of the chili dips here are lower on the Scoville heat scale, sauce makers say they are all packed with flavors.
A lot of the hot sauce makers here in Utah grow up learning how to make the flavors first, and then they make them very spicy.
This is the hottest sauce in this booth, and it's actually over 100,000 Scoville heat units. It is super hot and it's making me want to cry, but I'm sure I'm not the only person who'll be crying at this event.
The first 2 minutes after I ate it, I was like, this is not that bad. And then 5 minutes after it, the flavor came out and the spiciness came out, and I found myself absolutely crying.
This one's not too spicy.
Sauces like seltzer are mild, but that's okay because vendors say different buyers prefer different heat levels.
Some of us stop at the spicy grocery store stuff, and others of us go all the way to the top, and we want to cry when we eat.
All my other flavors just got demolished today.
Most of the ice cream was finished before the event was halfway because people were buying it to help them cool down.
That's really good.
People shared their thoughts with the sauce makers after tasting their sauces, then voted for the best sauce at the end of the event. Zahar Nasir, ATV News. Hot right in front of you, this is fresh halal meat at a market in Salt Lake City. It is also not very common in Logan because there isn't a store to sell it to the people who live here.
There is no halal market here, so I searched up on Google and it said there was one shop, but then yesterday when I went to the mosque, turned out that the store is closed.
The meat is freshly restocked every 3 days, and Logan residents say it is worth the 1-hour drive to Salt Lake City.
Several times I've gone down to Salt Lake. Even though we have some options here, they're frozen, they're very expensive, and they don't taste good.
How about all the legs? Halal store owners in Salt Lake City say Logan residents buy meat from them frequently.
I have a lot of customers, they come from Logan. And most of the time they come the weekend, that when they need like halal meat, they come here to my store.
They shop from here and they love the meat. It's because it's fresh, tender meat.
A halal logo is one we see on many storefronts and food packaging, meant to assure the buyer the product being sold is in compliance with Islamic laws. But what exactly is considered halal food in the Islamic religion?
No alcohol, no pig's product or pig's meat. And for the meat we eat, it just have to be processed according to the Islamic law.
This means vegetables are completely halal.
I have some pepper.
And Asifa has plenty in her fridge, but she says eating this repeatedly can get old.
We can only eat vegetables so many times, you know. If there's halal burgers or stuff like that, it'll be greatly appreciated.
I also decided to buy some halal meat from Salt Lake City to take back to Logan with me. But unlike myself, most Logan residents say they prefer buying it in bulk so they can always have some halal meat stoked at home.
We go and get a big box of halal chicken or halal beef. We bring it back home and we have deep freeze where we store the meat for a longer time because we cannot drive every day to Salt Lake.
While she prepares some of the last halal frozen chicken her mom sent her, Asifa hopes Logan can bring in some fresh halal meat options soon for the Muslim community here. Zahar Nasir, ATV News. Step by step, people are hiking up Logan River Trail to see the colorful fall leaves.
My husband and I are just on a nature walk, enjoying the fall colors.
With summer sounds and so many green leaves still around, you might have to look a bit harder for the colored ones.
I thought I would be seeing a lot more colors than I thought I would. Some of it was hiding.
Leaves appear green before the fall season, but experts say they already hold the hidden autumn colors.
All this time when there is chlorophyll in the leaves, there is also those different color pigments like carotenoids, which has those yellow color, but then we don't see them because the green is so dominant.
The hidden colors can only appear after the weather cools down in the fall.
The intensity of sunlight is less, the nights are cooler, and it doesn't make sense for a plant to reproduce so much chlorophyll. And when the chlorophyll is gone, the other color becomes visible.
Some of the leaves here at Dry Canyon have almost reached their peak colors, and hikers say they're loving the change in nature.
I really like hiking in the fall because I love seeing all the beautiful leaves and I like how they all change colors.
Other hikers decided to take some leaves back home with them.
It was on the ground. I just thought it was really pretty since not all the leaves have changed yet, and I just wanted something to take home with me.
Travelers from different states stop by the hills during their drives to see the fall colors.
We have a lot of visitors who come just to see the leaves and to participate in our other fall events. That's part of the reason why we try to augment our fall season with more activities.
As you find your way along your hike, Hollis Terra reminds you to take a minute to admire nature.
It's not just tourists who should be taking advantage of the season. You should be out and about exploring and enjoying the beautiful leaves, the beautiful weather that fall has to offer, so you can fall in love with fall too.
A fiesta filled with colors, traditional foods, and dances shut down Center Street on Saturday. Here's what I saw as the Latinx community in Cache Valley celebrated the National Hispanic Heritage Month through their own words. If you would like to see the bright shades this fall, experts predict October 23rd is when the leaves in Cache County will reach their peak colors, and hopefully we have clear skies on that day so we can all go out, hike, and see the colors. And now you're all caught up on weather. Back to you at the desk.